Hey, so I'm pretty lucky I got into the 7.0 beta, so I can test this early, and I can also test it without wasting resources because they give you affix rerollers, so I could get all the affixes I need on Pericles. So let's take a look at how Bright Knight does with Pericles. So a couple things will change when you use this set. So first thing is when weapon skills are cast outside of burst mode, increase burst mode damage by 25%. So you actually have to use Abyss Flower first before you enter burst mode. You have to do this every rotation now. So that's the first downside, because if in some rotations you could actually skip using it, but now you actually have to add it in, so it'll always take more time. The second thing is, once you enter burst mode, it enhances the effect, and then it only lasts 15 seconds though. So Seal's ultimate actually lasts 16 seconds, so the last second of it you can't, I mean, you can still use it for damage, but your buffs will drop off in the last second, so it will affect Bright Knight a little bit. Third thing is, with this set, she no longer has the evasion skill cooldown reduction. So normally, evasion skill is 10 seconds, and then with Abyss Flower, the weapon, it actually reduces it to 8 seconds. And then when you use two-piece Dante, or if you use Elysia M, it actually reduces that 8 seconds by 20%, so it becomes about 6.4 seconds. With Pericles, it's actually going to be 8 seconds, so the evasion now will actually take a little bit longer. It'll take 1.6 seconds before it comes off cooldown. So that is bad, because if you can finish the rotation early by getting your second Retaliate, use Abyss Flower finisher, now it's going to take you a little bit longer before you can do that, because the cooldown is longer. Lastly, Durandal also has a self buff that only lasts 8 seconds. So with Pericles, because the evasion is now 8 seconds, they're actually in sync. So the moment the evasion skill is off cooldown, that means this buff is gone, so you'll want to refresh it. Whereas when you use the Dante set, for example, after the evasion cooldown is up, you can still keep attacking, so it allows you to adjust your damage a bit more flexible. This one, again, you don't have to refresh it when it's off, but it's just good to know that if it's off cooldown, then this buff is gone, and it will affect your damage a little bit. So these all sound like drawbacks so far, but does the damage make up for it? Because the numbers on Pericles do look pretty good, right? So we'll go through one example rotation and see how it does. Okay, so for this rotation, we're going to make sure we keep the evasion skill on cooldown, so Durandal's self buff stays active. And then we'll also do the finisher before Steel's timer hits 15, so that we get the full damage. So if you look at the cleave, the first slash does 285, 406, and then the follow-up hits a little bit less. It is 171, 243, and then also the initial slam is 913, 299, and then the finisher will be 3.6 million, and then the final DPS is about 13.6 million. So now if we adjust the rotation slightly and we don't put the evasion skill on cooldown right when it's up, we just keep attacking, and the benefit of this is because it doesn't cut off Durandal's last attacks in her normal string, because those ones are actually a little bit stronger. So she's doing her 4th and 5th now without the skill, without the evasion on cooldown, so she loses her self buff a little bit, and she gets the extra damage from the normals being stronger. And she does her cleave. So here we can still see it's 16 on Seal's counter. So the first slash actually does the same damage, 285, 406 again, but it'll take the 15 right before she does a slam. So these will actually do less because the buff drops off, and we can confirm that because the numbers are less. It's 162, 818, and 868, 365. And then the finisher will also be less as a result, and this one hits for 3.4 million. The DPS actually ends up being higher though, even though the buffs dropped off, because we squeezed in that extra bit of damage in the last second of seal buff. So it's actually 14 million this time. And then now we'll go back to the classic 2-piece Dante Elysia M. Oh, sorry, 2-piece Dante Elysia B. So this one does not need to do the Abyss Flower at the start, so that saves you some time. And with Seal's 16-second buff, now you can do 2 full normal 5s and cleaves. So it's a normal 5 cleave and then another normal 5 cleave, and it'll fit within the timer. And then you also get Abyss Flower Finisher. This one actually hits for more than all the previous tests, the previous 2 tests. So you can see it's 3.7 million, and then the final DPS is 14.9, so it's actually much higher. So in conclusion, Pericles, less damage, less flexible. Yeah, don't bother with using Pericles on BK, just keep using your old set and you're good.